understanding of price is built on liquidity and imbalances, and you're using manipulation with only liquidity and no imbalance, and then the high time frame is but the low time frame I guess is all right. It's also December. Like there's just so much shit that kind of points me towards fading it, and just waiting for better opportunity, right? You want to hold yourself to that standard that will actually make you a better trader in the long run rather than just catching a win. You can always catch a win. There's always going to be a trade to win or just literally trade. So, fuck this setup. I'll probably get something tomorrow. And if I don't get something tomorrow, I'll get one the next day or next week or next month, right? Like, I can go without it. Other than that, I think the setup is all right. I'm kind of biased, so I really wouldn't want to put this in the A category. Like, definitely a B+. But you can kind of, stretch it to an A-. But again, my whole approach to, trading is I put so much emphasis on PO3, which is the high time frame candle, open, low, high, close, open, high, low, close, and including manipulate, basically DOL, and focusing a ton on manipulation. So this just does not sit right with me. I know Patty liked this trade, but in general, Patty also likes the Judas trades a lot more than I do. So this just kind of resonates with him. That's why he posted on his stories today that he really liked it, or he missed this banger of a trade, because that's his discretion, and I just don't work like that, and that's also perfectly fine. People will differ. Y'all do have that benefit of 3 different, I guess market experiences or market approaches, if you could call it that. And yeah, this plays out. I really did think of part of me did want to take this, but I just knew it'd be a bad example to set, so I faded it. And we didn't really get much after this. You can kind of see, now that high time frame consolidation is showing on the 1 minute, right? This looks, but this was pre-news, so I kind of actually wait. Do you all have any questions on these two before I get into 10 a.m.? Yeah, I'm gonna get in this in a second. You just nah, bro. I was on the charts. I fucking bought Wi-Fi on the plane, dude. 700 what is it? Kilobits is what it's called. I have no idea. It's KB, bro. 700, bro. It was so. But I could load the chart, but oh my god, it was so bad. Could be so volatile. Yeah, that's another thing. Entering on the 930 candle just in general is, not really good, because why would you want to enter? If 930 is the main thing for manipulation, why would you want to enter around there? You're just kind of asking for it, in my opinion. And then again, you have equal lows as your stop loss. I really don't agree with that trade. A hard time to but this is the thing. You can trade to or from your DOLs. I usually recommend you trade from your DOL rather than to it. This is just the difference between trading manipulation legs versus distribution legs. I'm gonna make a video over this because it gets very confusing, and I really don't want to teach y'all how to trade the manipulation leg, because I know it's just gonna fuck hella people up. It would be better if we had a gap for the distribution. Yeah, I just joined, but what are your thoughts on the short after manipulating the 5-minute IFG and shorting targeting previous day low at open? So you have equal lows at your stop loss, equal highs as your stop loss, and you're entering on the 930 candle closure. So it's just really not worth it. Did I say that? Wait, so what's wrong with the stop loss? The thing wrong with the stop loss on the 2 minute is that you're neglecting 50% of what manipulation is, right? You only have a sweep of liquidity, which is not enough. Now, obviously, you can, apply some discretion, but for y'all, I really don't want y'all taking this approach to discretion and you're neglecting the stop loss. There was a trade the other week that Blake took where it was an inversion that took the high of the inversion, which, isn't mechanically valid, but he didn't neglect the stop loss. He neglected a tiny portion of the entry pattern part, which is what y'all's intro should be, rather than neglecting the most important aspect of a trade. I'll be going to that again. Or well, it's really just the no fair value gap, bro. If that had a fair value gap, best believe I would have taken it. I would have been glazing that setup. Oh my god, it's so free. Because let's say we had a 4-hour gap here, this would be so gas. 930 does what? 930 generates liquidity, runs low. high time frame fair value gap. ES is respecting its own bullish gaps, has generated liquidity above. Like, it's such a good trade, just no fair value gap. So if it had that fair value gap, bro, trust me, I would be glazing it on this Q&A, but it just doesn't. And then given the high time frame conditions, it's just not, like, for y'all, I just don't want y'all settling for less. And you have the Q&A with Blake tomorrow. I also would want y'all to get Patty's perspective on it as well. But Blake said the same thing as me. He faded it, but Patty does like it, so I guess y'all gotta wait for Monday. But yeah, had this at a gap, bro, I would glaze it. Oh my god, it was so perfect. ES is in a good spot of distribution. NASDAQ is SMTing the fuck out of this shit. Respecting bullish. Easy generated targets. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god. Wait here. Give me a second. Oh my god. Also, this might not be a super long Q&A, because keep in mind, it's 8 o'clock right now, and I'm 6 hours ahead, so that's fucking what? Fucking 2 a.m., bro? Jesus Christ. Where would I go break even? If I took the 2 minute, honestly, don't you get a 1-to-1? Let's say CE of the wick. Slightly below it. Also, my approach to CE of the wick, I usually put it like the 60%, or like just slightly above it. I don't really put it at it. I usually put it slightly below it. Honestly, if I took this trade, I probably would just TP at 930 high. You know, that's all you really need. And if not, I would go break even if I was targeting above. But honestly, that's all I need here. Holy, bro! First it was cold as shit in my room, and now it's hot as shit in my room. Like, bro. So a key level in addition to this makes this A+. Yeah, but without the key level, I genuinely think trading without 50% of what makes manipulation genuinely does deserve to drop the setup to a B, maybe an A- if you really want to stretch it. I don't know. Was that a bit greedy? That's kind of up to you. I mean, you get enough RR at 930 highs. Me personally, I would definitely just TP at 930 highs. Why? Well, because it's a 3-minute intermediate high, and that's really all you get. You know, like, or all you need. I found something my own trading, like I would always extendo clip my TP, like, oh, I'm gonna target the high time frame DOL and like catch 100 fucking points. But the issue with that is obviously it led to greed, whatever psych issue, but I found so much more benefit in just going for the low hanging fruit. If you can get in and out of the market with these high probability trades that literally only last like maybe 5 or so minutes, like this trade was like what, 4 minutes at most. You can just use the benefit of that strong high time frame DOL, but then TP at like damn near guaranteed low time frame, low resistance. Like, that's my whole approach. If you look at like any of my trades, like you can see it in the notes. Like, where was it? I was looking at it earlier because I was gonna write that. Yeah, you can actually see I started writing it on the plane, but then I stopped. What trade was it? Like this one. Like I could have. Oh my god, I could have extendo clipped this shit, but like all I need is this. Like this is the 30 seconds, so this is just a few minutes. I'm in and out. I'm using that high time frame DOL to make price move, but then I'm not dealing with this long ass fucking distribution with hella chop, hella retraces, because whenever you target higher time frame liquidity, you also have to deal with longer distributions, which can obviously wick back into this shit, invite emotions, invite impatience, all of this other shit. So I really just like getting in and out. That's like kind of my whole thing. Hey, yeah. I was looking to take the 2 minute, but got scared because it was so soon the market opened. Faded for that reason. Should I pay that much attention to this? Honestly, after we kind of manipulate like this, I'd say it's fine. Like, you really only want to worry about entering at market or like close to market open within like the first 3 minutes, let's say. But whenever you see clear manipulation in the sense, like let's pretend we had a high time frame gap here. If you had all of this is totally fine, because this is just understanding the 930 Judas and like displacement. Like once you have the high time frame criteria appeased, right? We sweep out this liquidity. We have previous day low, a high time frame gap that doesn't exist, but we're just using it for context. it's kind of, that is what it is. Once you see this displacement, you can't say, oh, it's too early in the session. But we just had perfect manipulation. This is just the Judas swing. And I was uncomfortable as well, getting used to this. But obviously, over time, I kind of recognized, 930 is volatile. And with that comes quick manipulation and quick distribution. So if you're kind of uncomfortable with this, it could also just be a time thing. But I would definitely say that the reason to fade this trade is it should be more rooted in the fact that the manipulation is weak, or it's not really weak, there's no gap, rather than it being too early in the session. There was a stop hunt on the 2 minute. Yeah, but okay, stop hunt into what though? It's just like there's no gap, What else did you want to see for the long to be? Yeah, literally, I think Blake said it as well. I personally faded, but I think it was a really nice setup in hindsight. I faded because I was more bearish on high time. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I did take that long at 936. I was just kind of doubting it because we had that SMT with the equal highs, but the displacement looked super clean, so I left my TP where it was. What do you think about the racing? Yeah, I think that's fine. And yeah, we do have that SMT. So you're saying, yeah, wait. Yeah, you're seeing your TP there. Yeah, I agree with that. Lona manipulated in 1 hour bearish for value up, so doesn't it make it 930 more valid since 930 doesn't necessarily have to manipulate since London did and it could just continue lower? I'm assuming you're talking about this for the short. But the short left equal highs, and then at that you're taking a short with equal highs on 930 candle closure. So there's just too much negative to it, and why imagine waking up you go to your job and within the first minute of your job you're trying to leave, you're trying to get your one and done. Obviously some days are like that, but you still have a kind of a bun stop loss. I'm gonna be totally honest. Is the small 1 minute of the trade at 936 kind of stop hunt? Yeah, this would be, yeah. This is how, okay, and there's a lot of confusion about the stop hunt. This wouldn't be the stop hunt for me, right? I actually don't know how this is so confusing. It's probably my fault for explaining it. But all I'm looking for the stop hunt is genuinely just this structure. That's it, right? All I'm looking for my inversion is that the low of my stop loss. I just want this structure. That's it. Just this low time frame structure, right? So what is this right here? A, B, C, right? A, B, C. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. That's all it is. This doesn't that kind of adds to it. That looks nice. But the whole thing is that we have this structure that would then form a breaker. I don't really want to add too much shit. This is literally all I mean with the stop hunt. Don't overthink the stop hunt. The stop hunt is genuinely so simple, and I feel I put a lot of significance on it, which then makes y'all question it. But I promise you, it's one of the most simple things. Do I need to change the 8 criteria? I'm pretty sure this was the one that I said had no issue with it, right? Can you just send in the photo? So let's say if we're for our gap tab, would you enter if there's no stop hunt? No, because I always need a stop hunt. And it's a 930 Judas. So 930 Judases are going to have a stop hunt anyway. It's the high time frame IFG, but it's the first one after tapping the high time frame gap. Isn't it better to wait for that low high? Yeah, you would want... Wait, low high, low high. Yeah. I would want the stop hunt anyway, but that's just how I trade. I know Blake and Pat don't put too much significance on it, but again, it's kind of what I was saying earlier. I care so much about manipulation. That's how I built my discretion, is by focusing on making my stop loss as strong as possible. Because, bro, I would get reswept genuinely every day, bro. It was so fucking bad. And so my fix to that was I'm never going to be reswept again. How do I make sure that I'm going to focus on manipulation so fucking much? I haven't gotten into this yet. We're kind of just covering... Okay, bet. All right, yeah, we're gonna go forward to the next short, right? This is the next setup. If you took this, oh my god, if you took this is bad. This isn't even valid because of the 2 minute, right? Okay, thank god. Holy fuck, bro, I'm gonna go change the thermostat. It actually is so hot. Give me literally 10 seconds, I'll be back. So the issue with this setup mainly lies with what ES did, right? So this setup looks nice on paper, okay, right? Why is that? Well, okay, 10 a.m. We printed a data low. We got some engineered low resistance liquidity. And the issue with this low resistance, I'll just say it right now, is if you took this setup saying like, holy shit, we have LR, this is the wrong approach, right? The low time frame can look fucking spectacular, but this setup neglects high time frame entirely, right? You want to look at what ES did at this exact moment. Bro, where the fuck is it? Oh my gosh. What did ES do, right? ES edged a 4-hour liquidity pool. So your stop loss, again, if my whole thing is you want to focus on manipulation, why would you want some easy ass liquidity pool to manipulate into just above you, right? And then on top of that, what are you targeting? Well, some of y'all would say that, oh, I'm targeting low resistance on the low time frame. Look at all these slanted lows, Ryan. Isn't this what we're supposed to target? Fuck no. Why? There's no point in taking this low time frame LR. Why is that? Because there's no high time frame reason to take it. We swept the high time frame DOL, right, which was previous day low, and we have an SMT, and then it was followed by, it wasn't the best distribution, but it still reacted. So you're prioritizing the low time frame over the high time frame, and there's a reason why this setup lost. You'll notice, I just urge y'all, right, go into back testing, trade the low time frame and neglect the high time frame. See how fast that win rate drops to fucking 5%, bro. Probably less. The reason why this low time frame LR doesn't matter is that just below it on the high time frame, there's really no liquidity. So like this is just kind of pattern trading, low resistance. Make sure that you're actually tying it into something more significant. If you look at the notes section, I say this a lot. Where is it? Like I always say, yeah, low time frame LR leading up to a gap, or like I'd say low time frame LR leading up to a high time frame DOL. Yeah, low time frame LR built up leading to a high time frame DOL. So I'm combining low resistance liquidity on the low time frame with a reasoning on the high time frame, like a high time frame DOL. My bad. So this is completely neglecting that, and then on top of that, your stop loss is so butt. It's so butt, bro. ES has such a clear liquidity pool to manipulate into. Like, imagine how weird of a distribution it would be for ES to leave just equal highs like this. Like, that would be so weird. That would be so weird, right? Like, that would be so weird. Think of what happened. Oh my gosh, bro, why does my chart keep moving so much, dude? Holy shit. It's kind of like the 930 trade. You know how I was saying that, like, spaced apart equal highs are actually more significant? Well, spaced apart equal highs right here, guess what, are significant. And then on top of that, you're still neglecting the DOL. So this setup right here, genuinely, I'd put this shit as F, right? You're neglecting the stop loss. You're neglecting the TP. The entire setup is just neglected. Like it's actually so bad. You're using a super mitigated 30-minute gap. We manipulated way above it, which you usually don't want to see. Like, I'm okay. There's a little bit of sauce using your key levels. So obviously you're gonna have that setup that maybe strikes above your gap, fully rebalances that imbalance, and that's okay. But in this scenario, what I don't want to see is like we damn near we filled up the gap, right? Yeah. We fill up the gap. So right, gaps can act as a liquidity pool, right? You can rebalance an entire gap, and you can expect a reaction out of a gap as well. But after we fully rebalance it, and then we start just re-mitigating and an old mitigated part, essentially just accumulating, and then we manipulate way the fuck above it. I just don't really like this formation. I'd rather have this all be within inside of the gap. Maybe we mitigate it a little bit up here and do something like this, but I don't want to see my entire gap get mitigated, us manipulate fucking 20 points above it, and then get the reaction. And this is just one thing of everything else that I've just been talking about. The setup is so bad. And that's about it. I actually did see someone take this trade. The issue with this, right? I don't care if you had the fucking best key level. If you had the best DOL, again, you're the same thing that this was neglecting. You're neglecting. You're just focusing on low time frame LR. There's actually not even a gap here. Not even on the 5 minute. You can to see how butted it is. But the issue with this setup is you should just recognize, yeah, conditions are horrendous right now. Imagine seeing the chop from 9:40 a.m. last an entire hour and then you trade. This is a prime example of settling for less, right? If you did take this trade, I don't feel like a lot of people did, but if you did take this trade, you were probably sitting through all of this shit literally waiting to enter. Oh, bro, I'm going to clear out all of this shit. Oh, bro, I'm going to get a setup. You had to wait so long for this shit. It's just not worth it, you know? Like, this is such a bad, like, oh, it's so bad, bro. And ES had swept that part at this point, right? Make sure. Damn, yeah, and ES, okay, yeah, another thing wrong with this setup is ES still has yet to clear out this DOL. So the same thing that you're neglecting here, you're actually still neglecting here. So this setup has horrible conditions behind it. You know, this setup didn't have the best conditions, but, you know, I'll give you all the pass on that. This one, you literally see the entirety of the 10 a.m. candle do what? Go fucking sideways, and you want to trade it. It's just not worth it. Again, pick your fucking battles. There is such a thing as defensive trading. Do not think for a single second that trading is all about getting money. Oh, bro, I'm going to stack these payouts. Oh, Joe, I'm going to go on this fucking win streak. No, there is such a thing as preserving capital, playing defense in the markets, and this is such a clear example of that today, right? You should have been playing defense today. This shit is just trying to get you to enter, trying you to feed into the bullshit. You know, it's tempting you with all this LR, but LR that generates this long is likely a bad sign of PA rather than something you want to target. You know, I've talked about this a while ago. It doesn't show up every day, but this is an example of LR that is just a trap. You know, this isn't LR. This is just shit chop. You know, it's just not worth it. And I'd say that's about it. There's not, if you took any trade after this, like, my answer is just going to be horrible conditions. You know, I don't care how valid of a setup it is. In no scenario would you ever see Patrick, Blake, or myself trade these type of conditions. Because, again, we know how to pick battles, right? And that's what y'all should learn as well. Like, if there's one thing you should take away from today, it's definitely that. And yeah, so we're just going to run a Q&A. Oh, wait, low-key. Should I get my points? Hold on, I'm going to get my points, guys. Give me 1 second. Yo, okay, I'm already 10 seconds in, so I kind of got to follow through with this shit now, bro. Little ad break is what they'd call it, you know? Ah, dude, this is taking so long, bro. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. It's the longest 30 seconds of my life. Get me off this shit. Yo, my fault. Bro, okay, never mind. I'm not doing this shit. I'm sorry. Anything you see in this trade I could have done better? Is this today? No. One thing I want you to add, Mason, is don't crop out the time frames at the top, because I don't know what time frame this is. You also cropped out the bottom, so I actually, because time frames are important, but then I know that that's the 5 minute. I'm assuming this is the hourly. Yeah, this kind of looks like hourly structure, but I just don't know. Yeah, I kind of would expect a rebound down here. You are hitting that 1 hour gap. Oh, unfilled hourly. Okay, that is the 1 hour gap right here. Yeah, I like this a lot, honestly. Yeah, easy PDI, mixing in that, part of mech, rebalancing the range on top of PDI. I love setups that include both of those, because you're doing what? The same thing I was saying earlier about manipulation should include both liquidity and imbalances. Doing that for your DOL is just as good. A lot of us only want to target session highs, session lows. But imagine targeting an unmitigated gap on top of that. It's so nice. Like, probably one of my favorite ways to trade. I was looking at the video yesterday at PDI/time, and since I was bearish, I thought the 9:30 a.m. was an open high, low close. My thing with this is you don't want to pattern trade it, and after you've seen the SMT at previous day low, I'd say, and then the reaction off of that, just you should have seen it. Like, okay, maybe narrative is against this. Make sure that you don't pattern trade open, high, low, close, because that's probably the easiest thing to pattern trade. I feel like because you'd think, okay, we opened, and now we made a swing high. All right, now we're gonna go low. Like, I feel like that is probably one of the easiest things to pattern trade apart from the model. What did you rate the 2-minute IFG? I kind of gave it like a B plus, maybe an A minus. My whole thing, like me personally, I'm gonna rate it way less than Pat would, because Pat does kind of like those trades. But my whole thing is I focus on manipulation, and it has no imbalance. So to me, it automatically drops so much, because that's just how I like to trade. Okay, good, bro. You actually guessed it. You know, dude, I do remember, bro. How am I? But I'm not gonna remember this shit though. It was about the A. I mean, yeah, this is fine. What was your question on it? Wait, let me scroll up. Oh my god, bro, why can I not find it? Do I need to change the A criteria to wanting a bit less, or is that just how it is? No, I kind of agree with this. Yeah, the thing is, the way I rate my setups is usually based on like higher time frame narrative rather than just the pattern of it. But I would say this is fine, honestly. Nah, bro, literally, dude. I used to, bro. Whenever I tell y'all, I would back test. Oh, it would actually be rage baiting me, bro. Like I would back test, take a trade that I think like, bro, this is gonna smack. I get my stop loss ran through like a girl that went to ASU, and then, bro, oh my god, I'll never forget that shit, bro. It was so bad. It was so bad. Patty thought it was fire. Blake faded it too. I think he wrote. Well, yeah, I agree completely with what Blake said. Patty just really likes those 930 Judases, is what I've seen. Also, be a stop on automatically since it hunted out the DLO, or does it have to be on a lower time frame? I mean, I actually don't know what you mean by this. Also, be a stop hunt. Yeah, I don't know what you mean at all by this. I'm gonna keep it above. Took the first 2 minute seven candle inverse, and then I took this short break. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Is that the 2 minute? Wait, did the 2 minute close? Oh my god. Okay, well this is a perfect example. So if you watch the slideshow I made on how to increase your win rate, and honestly, probably the most sauce I've ever put into a slideshow. Like it honestly probably is my best work to date. No, it actually is. I'll stand on that. Um, you want to make sure that you have displacement, right? The thing that kind of low-key carries this trade right here is the instant reaction. If this shit took as many candles to inverse as this did, I promise you no one would take it, despite the same criteria. Because the time to close shows you what? Well, the market is clearly hesitating and, for one, respecting this PD array. So even though we eventually disrespect it, it doesn't matter. Price is struggling to go through this. This is a clear example of settling for less. You want your trades to damn near be instant. You want the fair value gap that's being inversed to be treated like it's non-existent, like it's literally not there. You want clear disrespect. This is the complete opposite. And you can also see how we build slanted low or slanted highs leading up to all these other slanted highs over here. So it's just really bad. Definitely unavoidable. And then again, you took this one. Luckily, you did go break even. But the thing here is you're neglecting stop loss, and low key, I would say neglecting stop loss here. I would actually want Colton. What I would want you to do is go through your journal and see if this is a pattern, because this is now multiple trades. Now I know this was a tape read, but now this is multiple trades where you've shown that you kind of neglect stop loss. I'm not trying to fucking give you shit for it, but that's just kind of the thing that I'm seeing right now. So definitely go through your journal and look for that. Oh, that's what Blake said. Yeah, and then so this is the trade at the very end. So the thing with this, yeah, we did sweat buy side. I think we still had targets above that though, right? Yeah, that would just be this level here. Yeah, so even though we swept this level of buy side, what's just above that, right? More buy side.
And again, conditions on top of that. Wait, holy shit! And you had a 30-minute gap. Or is this way later in the session? That could totally be way later. Yeah, that's way later. Never mind. But yeah, just really bad conditions for that. I didn't take it, but I was looking at the shorter for 10:04 because AMD sweep a 30-minute, but no draw to target. Price is so top. What do you think about it? Yeah, so this was I kind of already went over this, but it's just neglecting that stop loss on the high time frame and only prioritizing the low time frame. I would say this is a bit of a pattern trade for the open high low close, kind of like AMD. Like I would say that that's pattern trading it because there's just no high time frame narrative. Why would you trade terrible PA like this? Yeah, exactly. Honestly, shout out to anyone that faded today's PA. Other than the people that took the 2-minute, I can kind of cope with y'all. But if you took other trades than the 2-minute, it really is bud, bro. It really is bud. Bro, my fault, bro. I had to get my points, dude. What's the ABS model in the Notion template? Oh, fuck, I low-key forgot about that. Just rename it to BNQ. ABS, so my whole thing, and this is just like what I was taught, and then I kind of expanded upon it. ABS is called anticipatory breaker strategy. It's kind of where I became obsessed with the stop, right? So everyone knows about the order block, right? So an order block or change in the state is where like we go above it like this, you have that close above, and this becomes your change in the state. But what is a breaker block? Well, a breaker block is an order block that comes with a stop hunt. I would really recommend watching T Trades' video, right? T Trades. He's actually in this Discord as well. T Trades breaker, right? You can go ahead and look that up. It's gonna explain it way better than I could because I don't really want to teach the breakers, but that's just what it is, right? ABS is essentially an order block that comes with a stop hunt. So that's kind of where my whole stop hunt kind of originated from. But I would just rename it to B&Q. And I low-key probably should do that. I do got questions. Will you take your lower even previous day high of a gap? Like as in, well, okay, if it's an intermediate lower high, that means it hit a fair value gap. But I'll very rarely use just a liquidity pool for my manipulation. Maybe in the past I would, but my whole I preach it too much to just suddenly go back on it. Now in like an A+++ narrative scenario where like it is screaming at me to enter, maybe. But for the most part, I will never just trade off of a liquidity sweep. I always need that imbalance because why would I want to be a trader that settles for less or seeking that opportunity? I'd rather wait for my A+ to seek me out and present itself than me just, go searching for it. Like, I had a fucking guy today. I'll actually probably find the gap. He said that the 2-minute short was supported by a 5-minute gap. And, bro, I know damn well. What 5-minute was it, dude? It wasn't over here. Holy shit. Maybe way over here. But, bro, this shit low-key pissed me off. Oh my fucking god. It was this one. It had to be this one. Like, imagine searching through price and saying that this is your key level. Like, this is searching for opportunity to the fucking max, dude. Bro, it has a PD array. The 5 minutes from, like, fucking last week, dude. It literally is. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it was low-key rage bait, bro. That shit was so annoying to hear. Yeah, I do, like, extra shit on YouTube. If you already went over this, but what do you rate the 1-minute short, the 930? Yeah, so I do agree that the DOL is very good, but I think that you're neglecting very important parts of how you should be trading. That is obviously putting emphasis on your stop loss. You do have equal highs at your stop loss. And then you're also entering on the 930 candle closure. So it's like you're entering at the most volatile part of the market that includes a shit ton of manipulation, and you have a stop loss that offers the easiest type of liquidity pool, equal highs. So I think you're just neglecting just way too much, bro. I'm actually going to delete this photo before I even have to fucking look at it, dude. Oh my god. I mean, if there's something like a session high that is manipulated into, wouldn't that be a stop hunt in itself? No. So this is the sweep of liquidity. My whole thing with the stop hunt, I know that like the stop hunt and the sweep of liquidity, definition-wise, they're the same. but I want y'all's understanding of the stop hunt literally to be in the low time frame structure of a setup, right? This is all I'm referencing in a stop hunt. Yeah, sure, we can sweep liquidity way over here, and it can be like, oh, do we have a sweep? But then there's no stop hunt here, right? Like that's my whole thing. There's no structure that I'm wanting. I want this extra sweep above that, and then that's my setup, right? Because my whole thing is if you don't trade without that, I mean, I just got reswept all the time. I would check out. Someone actually put it in above here. I would highly check, like, after this Q&A, bro, please, I'm telling y'all, check this out. Genuinely some of my best work. I probably put, like, fucking 3 hours into that shit. Do you think we will hit daily for value gap this week? Honestly, bro, I have no fucking idea. I have no fucking idea. Price is really weird. FOMC, I'm just going to wait to see what FOMC does and then redecide. Like, it's kind of like guessing. It's kind of like entering a trade just prior to 10 a.m. news. Like, there's really no point in it. You don't know what's going to happen. FOMC could open bearish, clear out all the daily liquidity we've built up, or we go higher, clear out the relatively equal highs we built up, the failure swings on that. So I'm just kind of playing it by ear. Because no stop hunt. Yeah, I think this is totally valid to fade. Yeah, and then, yeah, you have the equal highs. Yeah, definitely agree with the fade. Like bro, I so agree with the DOL. Like previous day low is so obvious at this point, but it's just not worth it. It's just one of those things where you kind of gotta just sit on your hands. CE, the actual definition of it is like consequent encroachment, but it's just 50% of an imbalance. And I felt like I was coping with the whole time I was journaling. Yeah, and like whenever you have this feeling, like that's like the part of you that knows that it's like that you're settling for less. So you just kind of got to bring that to mind. I asked this because those longs today off previous day low. I don't believe it. It was in a gap, but hell, people cashed. Wait, what was this one? I thought I read this. Yeah. My whole thing about the 2 minute is that there was no gap. Like I wish there was a gap, unfortunately. I feel like what I'm confused about is we can take a trade off of a 5-minute gap or a 15-minute gap to draw, but then I'm like confused why taking a trade off of a sweep wouldn't be so good. Like yeah, a gap would be nice, but I don't know, maybe just confusing myself. So the whole thing with a continuation gap, and even with a continuation gap, you're actually sweeping low time frame liquidity. But we'll go over the 5-minute continuation because that's probably where like most of your confusion lies. 5-minute continuations are perfectly valid because you already have the sweep of liquidity on the high time frame appeased. Well, why is that? Why do you already have the sweep of liquidity appeased for these 5-minute continuations? Well, it's because to have a valid 5-minute con, you need what? High time frame sponsorship. So that means your move, the displacement that creates your 5-minute gap, must be started on the higher time frame, right? A 1 hour, a 30-minute gap, a 4-hour gap, whatever, just a high time frame imbalance needs to make that continuation gap. So with that would obviously come with, maybe a little AMD before 9:30, let's just call this 9:30. Maybe a little AMD, and then you sweep liquidity over here. So you don't need to sweep major liquidity for every setup, especially a con, because like that's just asking for so much. Like structure will really like just not form like that on good price action days, especially with cons. Like we're obviously in a continuation, we're kind of just gonna run to the DOL. But the reason why it wouldn't matter here is because we already had it lower. And then the reason why you wouldn't care about the 15-minute gap is with 15-minute gaps, you're usually gonna have like I see it a lot with the 10 a.m. Like let's say we kind of generate this 15-minute gap and then we open up 10 a.m. over here. Usually 10 a.m. will have like a little bit of an AMD prior to it. So again, you're still having that sweep of liquidity. It doesn't have to be a major sweep. It doesn't have to be, London highs, London lows, or like an accumulation that took a fucking hour long to, actually be formed. It doesn't have to be that major. It could just genuinely be like a 10-minute, a 15-minute accumulation. Or honestly, even like maybe even a 5-minute long accumulation. And that's totally fine. But then obviously in the scenario, you'd probably have like something here that then also appeases that. So it's really hard to get a continuation structure without already having the high time frame criteria appeased. So this is why, you'd be surprised how little of an issue this actually applies whenever you actually trade. like on paper, this definitely makes sense, but then in structure, it's really hard to get valid cons that neglect that criteria. Are you trading tomorrow? Honestly, bro, I'm hanging out with my I'm like hanging out with everybody tomorrow, so I probably won't trade PM. Um, so yeah, probably not, to be honest. No, literally, dude. Bro, it pissed me off, bro. Because it's like, what do you mean a 5 minute gap? Like, ugh. And it's not even fucking high time frame. Would you de-risk tomorrow if you trade before 2 p.m.? Honestly, yeah. I'd say my approach to that is you should be more conservative going into tomorrow, right? Pick your fucking battles, right? Okay, right? So the thing I was saying today is the offensive trading, defensive trading. Tomorrow is going to be a defensive day. Yes, you might have that A+ opportunity, and you should take it if it is truly A+. But go into the day playing defense. Wake up in the morning, go to bed tonight, tell yourself, I'm preserving capital. I'm going to save my account from being blown, right? I'm not going to let emotions fuck myself over. Because imagine you're unfunded right now, and you do some dumb shit tomorrow, and you blow your account, and then the following day you have that A+ that would have put you into profit, put you closer to that payout. Like, trust me, bro, the regret you'll have, oh my gosh, dude. If only y'all, bro, oh my god. So for example, if we edged the session low and then swept it alongside with the session low 10 minutes later, then it would be a sweep and a stop hunt. Yes. Right. So let's say we have session low right here. Market is running down. Obviously, if market is like let's say, that look, he gives it a stop hunt. Let's say market, is way up here, and then we just get something like this, right? I wouldn't want to take an inversion like that. See, fuck, I look-key fucked up the structure. Like let's say market just does something like this. I do not want that, right? But if we do something like this, which is what you just said, we edged it, right? So we edged that liquidity pool, and obviously you have like that little accumulation you're talking about. I'm not gonna really draw that, but then we sweep into it and we get something like this. Perfect, right? Now you have the sweep of liquidity in the form of this high time frame low. Let's call it London lows, and then you get the low time frame stop hunt as well, right? So that's exactly correct. The exact scenario is what you just is exactly what I'm looking for. I traded the W today as a nice bonus and not a great win. It is what it is. Yeah, if you took the win today on the 2 minute, don't beat yourself up over it. Just learn from mistakes, right? Like I kind of found a big issue with myself is even on a winning day, I would then say like, oh, Ronan, you don't deserve this, or oh, bro, this was such a bad trade. You're gonna lose this money back to the market because of like this, that, and the third. Like I heard like someone say, like there was like this quote, like money made without a system is like gambling or whatever, or money that's gonna go back in the market. And I would tell myself like, oh, dude, this money's not mine. Like I'm gonna lose it anyway. Don't give yourself a psych issue. Like I feel like a lot of us just genuinely give ourselves psych issues for no fucking reason. Take your fucking win today. It's not that bad of a win, but learn from the fucking mistake. Don't dwell on it, bro. Please don't dwell on it, because that's just an easy way to get in your head, plant those seeds of doubt, self-confidence that's, just going to deteriorate. Like, there's no point. Take the dub, fucking pat yourself on the back a little bit, and then move forward. How do you differentiate between generating structure before hitting a key level versus struggling to displace to a key level? How do you differentiate between generating structure versus struggling? I'd say it's kind of hard to gauge, but like after we displace, right? So let's say this is our key level. Wait, let me reread your question, make sure I get this shit right. Generating structure, right? So kind of struggling to displace to a key level, right? I would assume that this is structure, but after we manipulate, if I see us hit like a 15-minute gap, maybe a valid 5-minute con, let's just say manipulation, and we get this type of structure, right? So we have that liquidity pool created prior, and then this high time frame DOL. If I see manipulation that should distribute to this high time frame DOL do what? Fail, then I would assume that price is failing to displace. The structure part you can't really tell up until you see the manipulation. I don't know if that answers it. This is actually low-key. This is a good question. I think it's just kind of too good almost. Before hitting, struggling displays. Yeah. I would say based on the manipulation, and then prior to it, the structure, you kind of just have to wait. It's all based on the manipulation. That is kind of the answer for it. B&Q model, yeah. So I'm gonna be making that video. I'm home now, so you can expect it within the next couple of days. Like I already have the setups picked out, like all the examples I'm gonna be going over. I just gotta put it into a slideshow, make sure that shit's easy to digest. Like I really do like taking my time with education content because I hate confusion. Like my whole thing is logic, but I want logic to be so understandable. Like if you look at the win rate video, bro, I rewrote so much shit trying to make that shit like understandable to literally anyone, anything. So sponsored being like a 1 hour gap, or is like a 1 hour closed and showing bullish to the 5 minute con is good. If your high time frame key level got disrespected, it's no longer sponsored. I don't know what you mean closed. Like do you mean that like inversed? Do you normally trade New York AM on FOMC days? I mean sometimes, yeah. No, so let's say for this example, you got a 5 minute con off of a 1 hour gap that got inversed, right? Why would this not have high time frame sponsorship? Well, it's the same way that you wouldn't want to take a 5 minute continuation that got, closed through. Because there's no point in it. Your imbalance literally got disrespected, right? There's no point in trading it. This would be settling for less. You obviously, you can go through your journal, look at your A+ setups. You'll often see us respect the fuck out of those imbalances, hit that CE of the gap, maybe sweep some liquidity with it as well. And it's fucking perfect, right? It's perfect. You get that clean reaction. But sometimes we obviously do get distributions where we actually inverse these higher time frame gaps, these 5 minute continuations, and you still get a setup that plays out. But this is just picking your battles. Probabilities do exist and bad setups will play out. That does not mean that just because a bad setup played out that you should take the next one. And honestly, if you disagree with me, take that setup. You'll fucking learn the lesson that I had to learn. I'm just obviously trying to save y'all the P&L, the side issue of it. But yeah, it's just never trade if your key levels or your conditions are getting invalidated because again, there's just no logic in it. Real life example of that 5 minute con. Low key notes actually. So this right here, right? So this would be a valid 5 minute con. Why is this continuation valid? Well, you can see we manipulate into a higher time frame imbalance on the 15 minute fair value gap. And then from that, we form a 5 minute gap. So high time frame criteria is appeased. And from this high time frame gap, we displace and create a continuation in the form of a 5 minute. Then what do we do with the 5 minute? Right? We accumulate, manipulate, distribute. This would be a perfect example from that. Now, had we had no 15 minute gap, no high time frame sponsor, this would be invalid. But because we do have the high time frame criteria appeased, this is now sponsored via the high time frame. I would definitely recommend. I'm gonna start the notes. I'm not gonna lie, the notes are low key a pain in the ass, especially whenever I do the Q&A as well. Because again, I try to make this shit easy to digest, so it takes me a bit. But the notes are honestly pretty good. I'll try and do that more often for you guys. Do you know if we get the AI bot? Probably, yeah. You probably do keep the AI bot, but actually, I could totally be wrong. No, yeah. I can imagine that they keep it within the mentorship. Yeah, I can imagine that they keep it in the mentorship. I could be wrong, though. Dude, low-key about to lose my job to AI. I don't know if y'all peeping that. Oh, my gosh. So, previously low today, the sweep would just add to it for you. But high time frame guests are just better draws to take off of. Well, no, you want both, right? The best draw or the best manipulation point is going to come with liquidity and an imbalance, not one or just the other. You want both of them. Should we trade PM after FOMC or is it just dead? No, you can. I would show up. I would actually want y'all to gain some experience with FOMC. Just please don't FOMO into anything. Please don't fucking seek opportunity. Just show up with like a learning mindset. Is non. I mean, I'll show up for AM tomorrow. If we get something, we get something. But honestly, I I doubt it. Does anyone know what he said about the 10:04 short? I'll just type it out for you. Neglecting high time frame SL because he has edge 4-hour highs, and neglecting TP because NQ swept all high time frame targets, and you're just targeting low time frame LR. Over stop hunts for like 3 days. Yeah, I'm also gonna make a video about this. I'm gonna make a video about stop hunts and trading legs, because I feel like that's, bro, so many people get confused about trading legs. Like, how do I know that, you know, the 5 minute, if the 5 minute leg looks like this, you know, how do I know that taking the little 30-second off of here is or valid or invalid? Like the whole trading leg bullshit. I feel like there's a lot of confusion with that, so I'm gonna clear that up for you guys. If it sweeps right away in inverses, you need to edge first. No, I don't need it to do that. That was just an example we were for a stop hunt. Are you taking a 5 minute call if it's not hitting out? But you are with a 15 minute? Well, the thing is, the 15 minute is a high time for key level. And yeah, I'll show up tomorrow. Got self-made psych issues developing like you were just talking about. I took a dumb trade and funded on Monday. I lost 0.8% while I was risking 0.5 so far. Been trading super well for weeks. Was curious on if I should just keep my 0.5% risk or size down. Try not to be in my head. Nah, just keep it 0.5%. Don't overthink the process. I know that loss probably does suck because it's also an over-risk thing. But again, you kind of have to sit with that mistake. You know, it does suck. You got to own up to it, and you just got to work past it. The solution is not de-risking, because that will then do what? It's going to make more psych issues, because now you're kind of regressing. Now you're actually feeding into the fear of, oh, I don't want to blow this account. Oh, I need to be in recovery mode. I need to make this shit back in a healthy amount. No, keep the same risk. You made a little bit of a mistake. Maybe you had a little bit of a hiccup. You got a little bit of a setback. That does not mean that you go hide back in your shell. That means that you stick to the fucking process. You show that you truly do have detachment. True detachment, bro, I want y'all to realize something. There was a trade months ago, right? So I started a fresh 150K stack on Alpha. I bought the advanced accounts, and I had 6K drawdown on each account. And I was risking 3K per trade, so half of my fucking drawdown on 3 150Ks. In my first trade, I got edged on my stop loss. I remember it so vividly. Blake took the same trade, but his stop loss was like 2 points lower than mine. He won the trade. I lost. I was fucking pissed. I could have taken that approach and went lower risk. Like, oh fuck, now I'm starting my fundage in drawdown. Oh my god, there goes half my drawdown. No, bro. I stuck to the fucking process. I showed that I truly wasn't attached to these accounts, and I was willing to stay to the same risk that I had at the very beginning, right? You sizing down or you going back into your shell trying to, preserve this account only shows that you truly are attached to the result of what this account does, right? Stick to the same risk. Don't overthink it. Don't let shit affect you, right? You sizing down is letting it affect you, so fuck me. You got this shit. Would London Highs be sponsored today because of the 1 hour for value gap it was in? Yeah, it would. But then off of that, we generated low resistance liquidity, which I usually don't like. Oh my gosh. In that note, where do you go break even? Because I took the 5 minute inverse out of the 15 minute. Okay, yeah. So there was an issue. I remember with that trade, there was like something wrong. I think I misrisked. There was something I did that made me TP here. I can't remember what it was. I know I have it written down. Honestly, if you just go to this day, if you just look up my messages from the 18th, you can probably find it. But I would have not gone break even this day and held here. But why is that, right? So I've been preaching recently that I don't want y'all to do mechanical break evens. And why is that? I want you guys to start leaning into this side of discretion, right? this is a good intro into discretion because it's all about your target rather than neglecting the stop loss, right? So with your break evens, I want y'all to go ahead and write this down. Is the probability, we reverse off this click pool high enough to invalidate my high time frame conviction. Bro, so just go ahead and write this down, right? Is the probability we reverse off this low time frame, and this should be low time frame, liquidity pool high enough to invalidate my high time frame conviction. Go ahead and screenshot that, write that down, whatever. I'll give y'all like 5 seconds. Right? So in this scenario, the reason why I wouldn't go break even at this accumulation low is because just below this low right here, I think it was like a 30-minute gap or something, essentially a high time frame DOL. So to me, this is low time frame, low resistance leading up to that high time frame DOL. I probably have it written just above here. What was it? Oh, it's previous day low. Yeah, so just below. Oh yeah, I have it written right here. Yeah, so previous day low right here. So this is low time frame LR leading up to that previous day low. Is the probability that we reverse off of this low time frame LR after we inverse this entire leg, respected the 15-minute, then respected the 5-minute, then completely fucked this inversion, right? Is the probability that we reverse here high enough to completely shake all of my conviction? For me, absolutely not. Because why would price want to reverse off of here whenever we have a clear reversal point lower? There was probably a gap with this. But the reason why this would be such a better reversal point is because it comes with liquidity on the low time frame and the high time frame. I'm pretty sure there was a gap here as well. So it offers that manipulation, right? This is a good reversal point. This is not a good reversal point. So it didn't completely invalidate my high time frame conviction. So I held through on that day. Have you tested the AI bot? Not yet. Still better than this AI, no cap. Appreciate that, bro. But we shall see. Bro, if I start asking this shit like some confusing ass questions and it gives good answers, bro, I low-key might be QF, but I mean, I'm chilling. Because I took the 5 minute. Oh, yeah, this is the thing. I'll catch you later, bro. Should we get off like an AM? Honestly, probably like an hour after FOMC. Wait, is this? I look at you forgetting the context of shit I say, bro. Wait, so highs are basically sponsored when they sweep a high time frame from leg gap or inner. Yeah. It's sponsored whenever you manipulate on the high time frame, right? That's all sponsorship is. It's just high time frame manipulation. I do it way too mechanically because I think that is discipline. And in a way, it is discipline. You know, because it like trading should be like evolutions of, you know, yourself as a trader. At the start, you can't really have, you know, the understanding of like, okay, is this really a good reversal point? Is this really that? You know what? I'm just gonna play it safe, not fuck myself over, and take risk off the table. That's completely valid. But after a few months, you should evolve as a trader and start looking at it in a more discretionary sense, right? Is the probability really that high? How do I differentiate that? Literally what I said, and it is kind of like understanding of price. But right, like think about it. Is the likelihood that we reverse off of low time frame LR? Because like think about the reverse, like literally just think about it in terms of manipulation, right? I'd say the biggest thing that helped me actually progress is I just looked at it through the sense of manipulation. Imagine price, like just imagine this. We completely edge this low right here. We edge previous day low. This sweep completely reverses the range, right? This sweep right here. Imagine how weird that would be. Imagine this being the new low of day. And we have another low over here. Wait, that's not even in this other photo. Holy fuck. Yeah, so you have 3 failure swings leading up to previous day low, and we're not going to clear those out. You know, it just doesn't really make sense. It is kind of, it's really going to be market experience, unfortunately. Like literally what I was saying, evolving as a trader. Like you do go from the mechanical break even to then adding your own understanding of price. It's kind of a time thing, but of course you can like speed that up. Just make sure that you're sending me your trades like all the time, because like I will explain that to y'all. Like whenever you're going break even, if it's fearful, if it has a lot of logic behind it, but make sure you're asking yourself the why, right? Why is price doing this here? Why is it doing it there? I I'd actually really recommend y'all check out. If you go to the team journal, you can actually see my old journal whenever I was unprofitable, right? Little fucking flashback to the past, right? I would break down price. You know, what did the previous manipulation do? What is now the current manipulation doing, right? This new accumulation leading up to the actually low key peep it, bro. This is PDI and MEC. Holy fuck. This is actually PDI and MEC. Yeah, because we probably made like a 15-minute gap here. Bro, I made the PDI model, bro. Oh my gosh. And MEC. Oh my god. Anyway. But like, I would break down price, right? Why are we doing what we're doing? Okay, well, LR generated prior to 10 a.m. That's likely generated liquidity. Okay, well, what does 10 a.m. do? Well, 10 a.m. manipulate, and this is kind of OD low key. But you can see that I'm trying to understand why. My whole thing is logic and price. Why are we doing it? And like example of that, well, I mean, you can just see like London, right? Like London did what? Manipulated to this 1 hour. This is London, right? Yeah. So we obviously, and this is also a good example of continuations, right? So the move starts with the 4 hour. Because think about it, right? You can't just have a 4 hour gap into another 4 hour gap into another 4 hour gap into another 4 hour gap. You obviously have to continue with the low time frames. So the move starts with the 4, continues with the 1, and assuming like this is our market maker sell model, right? So we put in the full manipulation at the high. Notice how it comes with a stop on as well. Or just a sweep liquidity. Continues with the 1 hour and then continues with the 30-minute here to then clear out this market maker model. So you can see how continuations work even from the 4 hour to the 1 to the 30-minute, the same way that we do it with the 5 minutes and 15 minutes. But it's just super simple, right? We manipulate up here, we sweep out this accumulation, hit that higher time frame imbalance, and continue lower. Like high time frame sponsorship. The sponsorship is very weird, or oh my god, not very weird, very easy. Another thing would be here, right? This was no, wait, was it? I'm pretty sure this was London this day, right? I want to say it was, but I could totally be wrong. Fuck, it was not. This could, see, it's not. I want a good example. I would watch the daily profiles on the WAP, right? Me randomly finding an example low-key might take a bit. I would watch the daily profiles on WAP because they literally have it set out. If we do take a trade tomorrow, should we wait for it to, you can do either or. Trading between 9:30 and 11 is going to be lower probability because you have a high volatility. Like, most people are waiting for FOMC anyway. I would just wait for PM, but I'm going to show up for AM personally. So, what should I do to stop overthinking? Like, we talk on DMs on the trade that makes this shit invert. The thing is, bro, there was a point in time in your trading where you never overthought, where you never second guessed a setup, where you never hesitated, and you've kind of now given it power. You just have to go into the market, mark out your criteria, right? Write it on a little piece of paper. What am I looking for, right? Manipulation at these key levels, right? You want a significant sweep of liquidity, a high time frame imbalance leading up to a DOL. That's all I'm looking for, right? Don't overthink the process. I think a lot of people get into this just like over analytical mindset of like, okay, what's the DOL? What's the DOL? What's the DOL? Wait for it to be obvious and then execute, right? And another thing is, if this PA is making you overthink, understand that this PA is just butt. But we'll also continue. I'm gonna be honest, bro. I'm low key fucking exhausted. I'm probably gonna end this here in a little bit because it literally is 3 a.m. for me. But we'll continue talking over DMs and I'll.
All right. I know this is a long video. It's just complete sauce. But what he's going into is this trade coming into the day. What do we see? We have a lot of generating of buy-side liquidity that we ended up seeing. Failure to swing high right here, high here. You know, the 5 minute. Like I said, failure to swing high right here off of that. We have a failure to swing high here, failure to swing high here. This high got manipulated, but even then, what do we see? We see market opens at 8:35. We manipulate the previous day lows, which was right here. Now, there was a 30-minute gap coming into this trade. Trying to find where that was. Which was right here, which looked like it was going to get respected, while on the S&P, we were actually looking like we were going to inverse this bearish fair value gap and then rip higher. So there was a discrepancy between the two pairs. I didn't like that. I think it was a good day to avoid overall, but seeing this trade, I kind of felt like a dumbass for missing out on it, but it's good to hear Ronan say how it wasn't too good of a setup. B plus, you maybe could say it's an A minus, but it's really B plus, and probably just avoid it overall. I mean, we were bearish, I would say, coming into the day as well. Or is that? That was right around here. I mean, we were just pushing bearish overall, and just from here too on the higher time frame as well on the 4 hour. We had a big 4 hour break of structure. Actually, no, we didn't, but we're displacing lower. But after we see that previous day low get swept, we actually get, what, a 2-minute inversion. But there was no stop hunt, I believe. Especially, too, I got to watch back on that video. I actually want to do that tomorrow. I will not be trading tomorrow because we have Powell speaking FOMC statement. That's going to be the funds being dropped. So probably won't be trading tomorrow. Yeah, it's at 1 p.m., but I'm assuming that the morning then is just going to be super slow. 7:30 probably is going to make its move. Potentially, we'll see. But overall, my goal for tomorrow, and I want to put this on a sticky note, is to obviously go into the WAP, watch the PDI and the MEC videos, really get those ingrained. I'm going to stick to the MEC model. And another thing, too, which coming into this trade, not only did, like, yes, we got a 2-minute inversion, and you could have targeted, like I said, I would have personally, for me, I would have just targeted a 1-to-1. And that's all I would have targeted. And that would have banged. Would have banged beautifully for me. But one thing you would have wanted to see off of this actually sweep this previous day low, which would have made, I think, an actually A minus, A plus, is if we had a 15-minute or higher fair value gap that we actually tapped into as well on top of this previous day low, because that would have been beautiful. And you get a 2-minute inversion, and you have generated buy-side liquidity resting above. Because I would say this, you're not targeting unfilled 5 to 15 minutes. I would say this is a PDI model because we're accumulating. Yeah, we manipulate pretty high up on here, but if we go to the 5-minute, like I said, this move higher got made, but we still have all this resting right here. And what do we see? Yeah, this move here pushed us lower and manipulated this, but we still had all this resting here. So we had no unfilled 5 to 15 minutes to target. I think your first target could have been the relative equal highs, which we had right here, which would have been a great target. But the only thing, like I said, that would have made this trade better for me, and I would have actually fully taken it, is if I would have been looking for it, is if we had a fair value gap to sponsor on the higher time frame, 15-minute, 30-minute, 1 hour, 4 hour. That would have been beautiful, and I would love to see that. But that's just something I want to go into for today because I didn't make a recap on this. I was recording the live session, but once I missed this, I was like, I'm getting off because the market's going to be choppy. And as you can tell, yes, it actually ran pretty nice for a 3RR. It's pretty dope. But overall, I mean, even if you go to the 5-minute, we kind of just, dude, from 8:30, we made the move higher and higher, and we sweep this buy-side liquidity out, and it's just chop, 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 chop. So, I mean, overall, it's December price action. That's another thing, too. Understand going into the day, you shouldn't be on offense. You should probably be on defense. And you don't need to take a trade for the whole week. Last week, I took one trade, and the one trade I took was I would say a B trade. Not even a B. I would say it was a 3 out of 5, really. And it played, but it's not like rewarding myself with that. It's just understanding, hey, that wasn't a great trade, and why is that not a great trade? And then there was another trade that was actually A plus that I missed out on. It was a little more discretional, but I journaled that, and I made a video on that, and why it was a good trade. But, yeah, overall, I think I made a video on that. I'm going to be pretty annoyed if I didn't. You can look that up. Oh, that's cool. It got the face on it. I think this would have been it. Yeah, it would have been that day. I did get a good video on that. So just going back on this, even though I didn't take it, just journaling it. I'm not going to put it into my trade journal, but I do want to just have it on the YouTube channel on like no trade day. But and obviously, even if I have videos where it says a no trade day, I wouldn't post it unless there's some actual good sauce in there, and that's why I had Ronan. I recorded Ronan's call to get that uploaded to there. Overall, going into the rest of the month of December, I mean, like I said, I'm not expecting much tomorrow. I don't know about Thursday or Friday, and then especially after that week, I mean, I don't know if we're really going to be getting much into trading. I think it's just going to be, I mean, maybe we do, but like I said, just playing on the defensive side, and I'm on eval right now, so I'm just full porting that shit every time I see a good trade, and then learn from it. But once we get onto the Express, it's just risking 250, target 1-to-1s, 1-to-2s, whatever it is. $250 day, $500 day, nothing crazy, but it's the idea of just to build consistency, get better at trading, not blow the account. On top of that, improve my win rate and get that win rate up to a 70 to 80%, which would be great. I did a back testing session of May, I think it was 2 days ago, and I ended that month of May with a 77% win rate. That was a back testing session though. That was not live market. So it's just like understanding like the models do, and that was with the MEC model. The MEC, these models do have an edge, but it's being able to see that in the live market and being able to understand like, okay, those A+ ups I saw in May, that's what I should be looking for in the rest of these months, and really trying to find those. And then when they do come up, executing flawlessly on those, make sure I have good stop loss placement, I have good take profits, and just like I said, shooting for that 70% win rate. For me, I'm going to keep targeting, like, I'm not going to target really draws on liquidity. Obviously, I'll have my draws where it's like I want to see price go up to here, but I won't target, like, the high right here. I'll target, like I said, the 1-to-1 and just get out at that. But journal when it goes higher, right? Journal when it did run to that draw on liquidity. What causes to run to that draw on liquidity? What was the market looking like? What were our conditions? To go into that, to add into conditions. On this move, if we had a fair value gap resting in between here when we push down into this low, that would be our condition. Let's say it's a 15-minute, a 30-minute. That's our condition. If we inverse that gap, hey, we're probably going to go lower, and we're probably going to shoot for sell side and push down for this 1 hour gap or these 4 hour gaps right here, this failure swing low. But if we respect that gap, that's our condition that, hey, we'll probably go higher. We take the inversion, and that would be the pre-distribution inversion PDI model. And like I said, target the accumulation highs on the 5-minute. And that right there, that's just an idea. That's just an example. So I think my big thing for me to work on tomorrow would be understanding the MEC model fully in and out, the PDI model all in and out, all out. Really look for the MEC model mainly, but the PDI model just to have in my back pocket to see if we are accumulating. It is more discretional for me to use the PDI model because I have to think a little bit more on it. Same with the MEC though. It's just the MECs I understand a lot more. And also understanding, like I said, conditions and then stop hunts. Because stop hunts, what they allow you to get then is a stop loss that is high resistance liquidity. So let's say I'm not going to explain this probably too well, but on the 5-minute, after we swept out this low, we actually make another low and then go higher and get the inversion. Now that was just previously swept, and we have generated buy side liquidity above and relative equal highs above, which is right here, right? High. That would kind of make that now, so your stop loss is high resistance liquidity, and we have low resistance liquidity resting above, which isn't for sure, it's not 100% going to play out, but that raises your probability of it playing out, and that's what we want. And that's the whole idea of a stop hunt. I think it's just called turtle soup, but a stop hunt is to have a higher probability and a lower probability of your stop loss being hit, which would do what? Increase your give you a higher probability of the trade playing out, is how I look at it. Hold on. See, overall, I want to get this up. I'm going to get this uploaded. I do have, like I said, a lot of documents on PDI, and there's another one, and the MEC. So I think it's just tomorrow going through the videos, getting up at 5, I'm going to rip a sauna, and then just go deep focus until 8:30, and then kind of just mark out shit in the market, see what the market does. But I'm not, like I said, really on the defensive side. It has to be pretty fucking clean for me to take a trade tomorrow. But even if I could start off my day with, the PDI video, get that done in the other PDI video. I've watched them a couple times, but it's really just engraving it. And then same with the MEC. getting both of those down and then implementing them in the market, watching charting sessions that PB Pat and PB Blake have posted, and trying to understand them and what you need to see, and then understanding the conditions, and then going over to Ronan's YouTube channel. I'm gonna give you something off of Ronan. What a fucking goat! Incredible YouTube channel, absolutely incredible, and I will stand on that. But yeah, A plus PO3, that's basically AMD, BNQ model trade recap. And, you know, it's open high, open low, close. BNQ inverse for value gap, A plus model. How to increase your win rate trading inverse for value gap. Incredible video. Incredible video. I think I should make it like a routine to watch it every time I get into the market until I have like a set in stone like understanding of it where it's just, you know, intuitive. But absolutely incredible videos. How to trade AMD. It's a great video. That's basically, like I said, the PDI, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. How to actually trade for value gaps. Great video. High win rate, inverse for value gap model. Back testing, power of 3. Yeah, and high resistance versus low resistance liquidity. All these are great videos. Trading bias made simple. He trades internal liquidity to external, so he trades continuations. We tap into, let's say, for value gap, he wants to see us go higher. Let's say it's a bullish or value gap. We're tapping. No, it'd be let's say we tap into a bearish and we were delivering from sell side. He wants to see us go lower. If we tap into a bearish, dude, it's fucking late. It is late. I need to go to bed. Overall, great YouTube channel. I think this is another thing. Like I said, I try to go back to his videos and just watching them. He's fucking incredible. It is a great YouTube channel. I will stand on that. And like I said, on top of that, PB Blake, can't really go wrong with this guy's videos. I really watch, like I said, I have the mentorship, so I don't really watch his videos anymore. He hasn't really posted much, which is crazy. Him and Pat are great, but overall, my goal tomorrow is to get up, watch the MEC model video, watch the PDI model video, the conditions videos again. Even though I feel like I have a decent understanding of it, I want to get it more in depth, not overcomplicate anything either. And then the stop on video and the inverse or value gap video, and just engraving it all and making that a routine so I have an in-depth idea of it so I can implement that. Because, like I said, that month of May, I was able to catch banner trades, absolute banner trades. Maybe I can insert. I mean, I don't really know actually. Let me go to my files. I wonder if it would actually be saved. Hold on. Today is the 9th. Attachments. Oh, woodwork. You're gonna ignore everything else that is in here. Let me just make sure. Yeah, we're all good. Okay. Let's get this over here. Okay, beautiful. Is it alone? Oh, nice. Never mind. Hello? Hello? Dude, was my mic working this whole time? Or no? There's no fucking way. There's no way my mic was muted this whole time. I'm actually gonna laugh my ass off if that's the case. we can go into. Hold on, we're gonna look at the Fed. Fed decision December. It's pretty likely. I think we get that decrease, rate cuts. All right. I don't know if that muted the whole time. I'm gonna give a quick rundown again. So if Ronan went into this video on what we wanted to see, dude, if that didn't catch that, I'm gonna actually go to the fucking tweak. I'm going to tweak. I'm not gonna upload this. I'm gonna be so pissed. But overall, yeah, I mean, if that did record, beautiful. I'm gonna go back on it and just listen to it. But if it didn't, that's fine. My goal for tomorrow, like I said, is going to Ronan's videos and watch the AMD ICT concepts video, the increase your win rate with trading for value gaps. That's going to be just my main thing for him tomorrow, and what I want to watch, and how to actually trade inverse or value gaps. Maybe I don't think I need that though. And then yeah, really just high resistance versus low resistance liquidity. AMD simplified accumulation, manipulation, distribution, so the PDI model, pre-distribution inversion, and how to increase your win rate, trading inverse value gaps, and then going into the conditions video, the mech video, and the PDI video. I only have cardio and abs tomorrow, which I don't want to skip, but I wouldn't have to leave for the gym until probably 1. Maybe even probably I wouldn't have to leave for the gym until 1:20. Get there at 1:40, I could sauce. That's perfect, actually. Yeah. So that's really what my thought process is going in for tomorrow. Hopefully it was able to record most of Ronan's call. I think it was absolute sauce. Make sure I like this. That's because that's fire. Yeah, that's really it. Overall, have a wonderful night.